Well, good morning. We're all awake, alive. Beautiful December morning. We still got a few people coming in, so you'll excuse me if I talk a little bit slower. This is nice to see some people. Welcome to everybody online. Happy to have you here. Hope you're warm and comfortable there at home or traveling, wherever you are. If you are traveling, if you're up from far away, we'd love to hear from you. If you could write to the UU address and tell us where you're viewing from, that would be nice. We'd be happy to hear. So, cold and clear, no snow, December. It's a season of light all over town, though. It is lovely to see, isn't it? So, anyway, we're blessed. Are there any visitors here in the sanctuary today? If you're comfortable, stand and introduce yourself and so we can greet you. Anybody haven't been here in a while or visitors? Yes, Chris, do we have a microphone?
Hi, I'm Carol Miller. I live in Traverse City and I've been meaning to come for a long time. So I used to go to a Unitarian church many years ago.
Welcome, Carol. Anybody else?
Doing this to me. Hi, I'm Brenda Ingersoll. I live across the street, basically, so I thought I'd just walk on over. So.
Well, very good. Very good. Thank you. You don't even take up a parking place.
Hi, I'm Faye. I'm actually from Traverse City, and these are my two kids, Danielle and Robin. And we've just been kind of church shopping, looking for more of a kind of universal acceptance.
Well, you found one. You found one. I hope you feel welcome here. You certainly are. And please stick around afterwards. We have a social hour and coffee. We'd love to talk to you. We have yellow cups for visitors so that we can identify and introduce ourselves to you. Before we start here, also, if you have any joys or concerns that you're willing to share with the congregation, we have a book over here. If you could write that down, maybe light a candle or just light a candle. In the next 10 minutes or so, Alex will be reading these from the pulpit when it's his turn. Also, one more thing, I guess I should say there was two more things. You notice on your order of service today, this is visible evidence that the Sunday Services Committee is listening. We heard comments on our trials at new formats, which is an ongoing experiment, as everything in Unitarian is, I think. So, anyway, you see that we have modified the proposal. We're listening to comments. We want your comments, please. Anything about the service, what you think about what I did today or I'm going to do. Or anything. We want to hear the order, the parts of the service that are ritual, whether we always do the same thing in the same way, which we tend to resist. But we want to hear. So please let us know and notice that today. So today's service, alternative intelligences. Prompted, I think, we've heard a lot, ChatGPT and self-driving cars, other kinds of things that might be coming our way that can be a little bit alarming. In discussing the service today with Reverend Alex, we got wondering, what is intelligence anyway? And for me, when things like this pop up, I'm always thinking biologically. What is intelligence biologic? How does our body store information? How do we retrieve it? We have a fairly good idea how computers work, and that provides a nice model, but it's not what happens. We've got this eye on the cover of your order of service, which, what is that? The eye of God, the eye of the machine, whatever. So how do we learn? How do we retain memory? Scientists really have no idea. We don't know if it's electrical or chemical, something else. Does it come from the cloud? It seems to. So Alex gave me permission to carry this a little further this morning, so bear with me. This is not your usual introduction. As you can see from our chalice, that sometimes we take a little different approach. In my scientific experiments or experiences a couple years ago, I was really stunned to learn about biofilms, these films that bacteria can form all on their own. When they collectively form and they put a film over themselves for protection. It can be extremely difficult to break this down. And this has profound problems in medical microbial resistance issues on equipment or just inside your body, especially people with implants. It's a huge problem in industry also, transportation industry, all mechanical industries. You get a biofilm on there, it can do a lot of damage. And actually, microbiologists think of bacteria as being fairly clever, knowing when, how, where to form colonies. Surely this must have been one of the first things that bacteria learned eons ago. How do they know when to form films? How do they know to protect themselves? How did they learn that? Scientists have recently learned that the fibrous strands that bind the films together are made of DNA, or it has a lot of DNA in it that's been excreted by the bacteria. This new knowledge will help scientists break down the films some places, but to me it really excited me that the very first evidence of intelligence involved DNA from the cytoplasm, not nuclear DNA. So that was just one thing that I hold in my brain. And now with artificial intelligence, it was called machine learning when I was early into computers. I've been closely involved with mainframe computers almost since they were made, almost since they were invented, but actually since 1968, which isn't a whole lot after they were invented. And I've always been intrigued by the possibilities that machine learning can offer. Early on, that was George Orwell's 1984, 2001, A Space Odyssey. Kurt Vonnegut's novel, Player Piano, was an interesting one. And then, of course, Dr. Strangelove. So these things are also sitting there in the wondering zone. So early on, I saw efforts at machine learning to be just what I do as a statistician. I evaluate the reliability of my data, separate the good information from the bad information, then look to see how the information varies in different situations, make a model of these underlying influences, test and refine the model, apply the model in different areas, continue to refine and apply. This is what scientists do who are writing this artificial intelligence. But they have a computer. It's a whole lot faster than what I can do, and it doesn't forget. So what's not to like? It's just what I would do if I could. So writing new stories or poems, keeping movie actors looking young, that's fun. Self-driving cars is going to be a blessing, but I'm sure there's more to come. So why do people worry about this new super tool? Should we fear something that sees and remembers everything, that can develop models of social behavior, that can reliably predict individual behavior? Something that can make judgments and take action on those judgments to make us safer? Or maybe rewarding the righteous and punishing the transgressors? So I was raised in a religious tradition that believes such a being has always existed. I was taught to trust this being, to express my gratitude every day, and to accept whatever decision it made regarding my fate. That tradition was written and perpetuated by men who were trying to explain a capricious God in a world that didn't know about microbes, evolution, or scientific inquiry. I'll tell you, I much prefer a model where predictions are based on evidence, as well as wonder. So, let's welcome all intelligences today that can assist us on our spiritual journey. So, we'll get on to some welcoming music. Thank you.
Hope you're feeling awake. Whoever you are and wherever you are on life's journey, you are welcome here with us this morning. I'm Reverend Alex, the senior minister here at UUCGT. I use he and him pronouns. Today we're going deeper into forms of what is called AI, artificial intelligence, perhaps even what we might call alternative intelligence. As we settle in, I invite you to hear these opening words for our service, created and crafted with artificial intelligence, the author, ChatGPT. In this sacred space, let us open our hearts to the exploration of artificial intelligence, the amalgamation of human creativity and technological prowess. As we navigate this realm of alternative intelligences, may we contemplate the intersections between the technological and the spiritual, between the crafted and the innate. In our quest for wisdom, we extend our gaze beyond the digital landscape, acknowledging the diverse forms of intelligence that have shaped the tapestry of human experience through the ages. May this exploration guide us toward a deeper appreciation for the ever-expanding possibilities that intelligence offers. So let our time together be a sanctuary for curiosity, a haven for the spirit of inquiry, and a celebration of the rich diversity of intelligences that grace our shared human journey. Welcome to this sacred space where we honor the intersection of the technological and the divine, and where we embrace an endless potential. Blessings on our exploration together, and come, let us worship together this morning. We pause now in our service to light the flaming chalice, the flaming robot in some cases, the symbol of Unitarian Universalism and our love for both humanity and reason. I'll invite our chalice lighter up now as I read and share these words. Today, the flame represents the light we gain from using all of the intelligences that we possess, and to remind us that all intelligence is real when we use it with kindness. You never know what's going to happen. And now we sound our singing bowl as we open our minds and hearts to the possibility of this hour. Please now rise in body or in spirit as you feel called to join in singing our opening hymn, number 398, To See the World. This is found in your gray hymnals, and our music director, Anne-Marie, will lead us in singing.
Well, it's that time in the service now to remind you of what you already know. takes your support to keep the congregation running. We'll talk a little bit more about that after the service today, but right now we have the opportunity to share our gratitude for the chance we have to meet here, warm and dry, in this nice facility, for the blessings of our staff and all that they do and all that we do in the community. The baskets will be passed. They have two sides, one for the congregation and one for our community activities. For those of you at home, you see the options for giving on your screen. Please be generous. Thank you very much.
It is our practice as a religious community to set aside time in our service to name and honor the joys and concerns that touch our lives, the milestones and moments of our lived experiences when we are together. I will be sharing a few of those that have been offered up for us to hold while we are gathered. If you have a joy or a concern that's a bit too tender to share out loud in our service, I invite you to reach out to myself or to a member of our congregational care team. Is anyone here from congregational care today that would like to raise their hand? So we have a few folks here. You can also just simply hold it on your heart as you are held in the love of this community, and also light a candle at any point as an expression of your joy or concern. Know that none of us is ever meant to travel life's journey alone. And so here is what has been offered up for us to share as we are gathered. From Kim Greeby, a joy that Kevin and I won the bidding war on Tech for Dummies, which is much needed. A sorrow for whoever was bidding against us, and clearly equally as desperate for the help. From Emily Mitchell, the loss of Martha Lapine, who died suddenly this past week, who has not attended UUCGT in a while, but who raised her children Gabe, Claire, and Evan here many years ago, and whose life will be celebrated in this sanctuary next spring. Please hold the Lapine family on your heart. From Jim Linsell, Spirit of life, protect the children of Israel and Palestine, and may peace prevail in this season of peace. And now let us hold a moment of stillness for all of the joys and concerns that remain in the silence and on our hearts. As we move now into a time for prayer and meditation, I invite you to breathe deeply and to take a couple of deep breaths, breathing in and out. Another deep breath in and out. Source of all wisdom, in the presence of this gathered community, we come together with hearts open to the mysteries of alternative intelligence that surrounds us. In the tapestry of existence woven with threads of human ingenuity and technological marvels, we pause to acknowledge the boundless possibilities that unfold before us. Likewise, we also recognize the shadows that accompany these great many possibilities. We think of the dangers, the cautions, and the pitfalls, calling us to be vigilant stewards of this power we yield. In this space where possibility and creativity meet our fears, may we have courage to explore these new realms, seeing them as a reflection of our creative capacity as humans. May we approach this evolving landscape with humility, curiosity, and a deep sense of responsibility, understanding that the choices we make impact the fabric of our existence. As we navigate the intersections between the organic and the synthetic, may we be guided by compassion and a fervent commitment to justice. May our explorations of alternative intelligence be guided by a deep reverence for life and a commitment to fostering a world where all beings can flourish. As we embark on this journey together, may we trust that our quest for intelligence and understanding is an integral part of our shared human pilgrimage and our common endeavor. May it be so, and amen. Oh, was there an additional? Oh, I see. I'm sorry. There are a few other concerns here that I didn't see. From Chris and Rick Walter, we hold in our hearts the joy and love of our son Jonathan Bryce Walter. It still brings us as we remember him on what would be his 49th birthday, tomorrow, December 11th, forever 33. Today marks 1 year since our first visit to this sanctuary. We are grateful for the positive change it has made in our spiritual and our social outlook. Thank you for being here and doing what you do. It makes a difference. From Nick, Lucy, and Marlene. I really apologize. It was, anyway, we don't want to miss any of our concerns and joys, and so thank you for raising that, and I'm glad we could hold all of these together. Let us now, holding all of these concerns and joys, sing our song of response, Spirit of Life.
Our reading this morning is an excerpt from a journal article called Don't Touch That Dial, A History of Media Technology Scares from the Printing Press to Facebook by Vaughn Bell. This was in Slate News. The article is about scares surrounding new technology, of which I'll read only a few. But they started with a Swiss scientist who in 1565 had assembled a compendium of nearly all published works at that point. And he decried the unmanageable flood of information unleashed by the printing press. So here's our first one, almost. So worries about information overload are as old as information itself, with each generation reimagining the dangerous impacts of technology on mind and brain. From a historical perspective, what strikes home is not the evolution of these social concerns, but their similarity from one century to the next, to the point where they arrive anew with little having changed except the label. These concerns stretch back to the birth of literacy itself. In parallel with modern concerns about children's overuse of technology, Socrates famously warned against writing because it would create forgetfulness in the learners' souls, because they would not use their memories. He also advised that children can't distinguish between fantasy and reality, so parents should only allow them to hear wholesome allegories and not improper tales, lest their development go astray. The Socratic warning has been repeated many times since. The older generation warns against a new technology and bemoans that society is abandoning the wholesomeness media that it grew up with, seemingly unaware that the same technology was considered to be harmful when it was first introduced. Further examples mentioned in the article include news from a printed page, which isolated readers and replaced hearing news in a group, delivered in an uplifting way from the pulpit. Widespread literacy and studying in school risked mental health. Radio distracted students from studying and disturbed their excitable minds. Television replaced the radio, reading, conversation, and the pattern of family living. The writer Douglas Adams observed how technology that existed when we were born seems normal. Anything that is developed before we turn 35 is exciting, and whatever comes after that is treated with suspicion. This is not to say all media technologies are harmless, and there is an important debate to be had about new developments affect our bodies and minds. But history has shown that we rarely consider these effects in anything except the most superficial terms, because our suspicions get the better of us. In retrospect, the debates about whether schooling dulls the brain or whether newspapers damage the fabric of society seem peculiar. But our children will undoubtedly feel the same about the technology scares we entertain now. It won't be long until they start the cycle anew.
As I begin today's sermon, I want to invite you to picture that you are in an old, ancient library where there are books of every size, seam, and color that are lining the shelves from the floor all the way to the ceiling. The library is dimly lit with glowing lights, and it's not the best cataloged, though you figure there probably is just about everything under the sun that must be in this library. Think like a really disorganized Library of Congress. At a desk reading by the fire is a helpful librarian who has read each and every book in this collection. Whereas you might think it impossible to know or recall from memory every single title, text, or book, this librarian can do it in a heartbeat. The librarian has even read countless things beyond this library as well. And they can tell you also what they've learned. You go up to this librarian with what you're looking for, a question, a piece of information, an idea, how to bake the best chocolate chip cookies, for example. This librarian, in an instant, pulls out a handwritten report, seemingly written just for you, all about baking chocolate chip cookies. The librarian even has new ideas and insights for chocolate chip cookie baking that are drawn from many other recipe books and blogs, even when all of this information isn't yet found all in one single place. This, my friends, is what artificial intelligence is and how it functions, at least with the popular program and AI tool known as ChatGPT. We've heard a little bit from ChatGPT today. While many of us have seen cautionary tales and sci-fi films like Terminator, iRobot, Blade Runner, or even the recent AI thriller movie Megan. That's Megan with the number 3 for an E in the name. Artificial intelligence itself is truly about imitation. It's about simulating what we experience as human intelligence and creating new tools and processes that help improve how we complete tasks and gather information. When I think about these elements of imitation and simulation, I'm reminded of a story that 2 of my former ministers told me, the Reverends Elaine and Axel Gehrman of the UU Church of the Monterey Peninsula. They told me about a time back in 2017 when they visited Wittenberg, Germany for Reformation 500, celebrating 500 years since Martin Luther's posting of the 95 Theses. While they were there, they met a robot affectionately named Bless You Too that offered visitors the chance for a blessing or a prayer up from this robotic priest. How many of you would have been brave enough to take a blessing from a robotic priest? Oh, there's some hands, okay. So offering blessings across 5 languages, Axel and Elaine showed me a video that they took of how the priest offered them many choices for this blessing, offering it in either a male or female voice, offering different kinds of blessings for grief, encouragement, and community. The sound of fans then and machine whirring, the robot priest then raised up its arms high and blessed them, hands glowing and all, even offering them a printout of their prayer. Needless to say, this gives me and other clergy some questions around job security if this whole robot priest thing really takes off. Though at least for now, it really hasn't taken off. Watching this video of this robotic prayer, I experienced this feeling in my gut that's hard to describe, a feeling of sadness, perhaps even loneliness, with how a robot blessing still isn't the same thing as genuine, authentic human presence. How as much as they can imitate human connection, there's still something missing here that robots and machines can't imitate, at least for now. The knowledge that behind the robot lies only an emptiness, not a connection with another living, breathing being. I think it's safe to say that you can't quite replace that, no matter how many robotic blessings a robot priest can bestow in an hour. So this morning, I'm wondering if we can broaden our exploration of artificial intelligence, known as AI, into a conversation on alternative intelligence. Rather than seeing it as a means to an end, with AI fully replacing or imitating our humanity, seeing how AI might present us with another set of tools for enhancing our human experience. We human beings have an innate drive to solve problems, to search for new tools and information that helps us to improve our lives and our many ways of living. What are some ways that we might think outside of the box here? What if we approached AI as simply another tool in our tool belt as we solve these many different problems of our lives that want to improve qualities of life? I want to give you an example of what I mean by thinking outside the box and turning to what I'd call alternative intelligence. Take, for example, slime molds and how researchers used mold to simulate the plotting of Tokyo's subway and rail systems. It turns out that slime molds and human beings actually have something in common. We want to take the shortest path and spend the least amount of energy doing it. When researchers added areas of food across the mold and slime, it was able to essentially map out different cities and other important juncture points like rail stations. The mold, interestingly, replicated the routes and railways with a high amount of accuracy. This brainless tool, we're talking a bunch of mold and slime, was able to bring an intelligence of sorts to mapping out an efficient and effective rail system, even offering some suggestions for improvements on some of the routes that already existed. In other words, slime molds can build highly efficient networks without expending human resources or even consulting with a whole planning board. Pretty remarkable. In the case of intelligence, in this case, it doesn't signify a replica of human intelligence. Rather, it shows us a turning toward intelligence that's even beyond our grasp and yet found all across nature. You can see another example of this in how forests of trees grow and their remarkable similarity to neural networks of the human brain. The word dendrite for brain cell comes from the Greek word dendron, which means tree. It turns out that scientists are starting to uncover how trees have their own sort of nervous system too, much like the human brain. Miles of roots, growth, and mycelium that facilitate communication, memory, and yes, even learning across the trees. Alternative intelligence might be a more apt concept than we might initially have thought. I think we human beings, in the case of AI, are a bit too self-absorbed. We fear an imitation of what we know as human intelligence, all the while we are surrounded in a world, indeed a universe, that is just overflowing with unfolding wisdom. The brilliance of nature, the lessons of the stars and our origins of the universe's beginnings. How might this conversation really not even be about us? How much might it be about revealing the intelligence and wisdom that already abides all around us? Is AI one such tool that can help reveal this intelligence, like a librarian in a vast cosmic library, beyond even our own human limits? I want to acknowledge and turn to the great many fears that have come with AI, the fears of great economic shifts, the loss of jobs, the ways that new images and information can be generated at staggering speeds, growing amounts of disinformation, the creation of false images and articles that spread across social media like wildfire, even the most sensational of our fears, with a complete AI takeover and a total destruction of humanity. We know that there are real fears that have come with the increased use of AI, increasing cyber attacks and scams that target innocent people, disinformation and propaganda that has taken social media by storm, distorting our reality and what we know to be true. They now actually have AI image and video tools that can generate any possible image that you can imagine, whether you want to see a futuristic world with streets made of pepperoni pizza, or to generate a false video of a politician or leader making certain statements that they didn't actually make. AI is even changing the landscape of education, most acutely in the ways that students learn and develop their writing. You've heard how Socrates famously warned against writing itself, how it would create forgetfulness in the souls of learners. We have a whole new conversation starting about writing today. As a teacher or a professor, you now have to have timed writing assignments in class in order to be sure that AI or a computer did not write that 7-page essay on war and peace. They even have tools now, not just for checking whether a piece of writing was AI generated, but also tools now to make AI writings even harder to detect by those same very tools. How will human beings learn to write, to express their inner voice and thoughts? Will there be a need or even a desire for this moving forward? This is new and scary terrain. We quite simply are not ready for this future, just like we haven't been ready with the advents of new technologies before. The reading that Dan offered us today shows us a history of technology scares and how we seem to have similar fears with the rise of each new technology. My favorite of these fears is from the French statesman in the 1700s, who warned against getting our news from the printed page, how it socially isolated readers and detracted from the spiritually uplifting experience of getting your news straight from the pulpit. I won't be wearing my CNN or Fox News hats anytime soon. Maybe my NPR hat. That's a joke about UU's loving NPR. All this is to say that with the creation of each new technology and tool, we've developed similar fears. We actually have been here before. We have a genuine sense of consideration for how the world will shift and how our lives will be made different by these advancing technologies. And yet somehow the worst of our fears and imaginings are never realized. There is no total takeover or destruction of humanity, even though there could be something in the future to come that makes this feel more and more inevitable. What's needed now is confronting our fears to actually look at the great AI boogeyman and to see how it might actually prove a great asset, an aid to human intelligence, but not a replacement. We need to seize the creative opportunity in alternative forms of intelligence and to be willing to help shape it, mold it, and even rein it in with its potential downsides. I invite us to remember the wisdom of ages and sages, that what has been is what will be, that what has been done is what will be done, that there is nothing new under the sun. We can either engage these alternative forms of intelligence, or we resign their use, to those who would use them for great harm or great evil. A pragmatic approach is that AI is here to stay, whether we like it, are comfortable using it, or would rather simply just ignore it. We are at a pivotal time when we really need to engage these tools for broad and new horizons. How might we welcome in these new forms of intelligence, these new tools, rather than being too afraid to use them? Friends, I want to assure you that there is something intrinsic and irreplaceable about our humanity. That no matter how advanced these technologies become, how could anything even verge on replacing the irreplaceable you and me? The vastness of our human experiences and how we come to know and encounter the world, I don't think anything can replace the parallel intelligence that is the human condition and experience. This is an intelligence that, like networks of trees and slime molds, brings its own wisdom and deep truths. Even after a successful attempt of a computer deceiving a human being via what we've come to know as the Turing test, named for Alan Turing, a computer can only go as far as mimicking our humanity, going beyond thinking like a human being. A computer still needs to cover experiencing, witnessing as a human being. Something that can never fully be created or replaced, but simply just is, if you ask my opinion. To close, I want to invite you to experience exactly what it is that I mean by the irreplaceable you. I've gone ahead and asked ChatGPT, the famous alternative intelligence tool, to write the ending of this sermon on the specialness of humanity. And so here is what AI created. In the grand symphony of existence, each one of us is a unique note, an irreplaceable melody that contributes to the divine composition of life. Today, let us reflect on the profound specialness and irreplaceability of humanity. We are not mere spectators in the unfolding drama of the cosmos. Rather, we are active participants, each endowed with a singular set of gifts and perspectives. Just as no two snowflakes are identical, no two human beings are the same. Our individuality is not a flaw, but a testament to the infinite creativity of the universe. Consider the intricacies of your own life, the experiences that have shaped you, the trials that have forged your resilience, and the joys that have kindled the light within. In this intricate dance of being, you are not a mere bystander. You are a cosmic masterpiece, a manifestation of the sacred energy that courses through the universe. The tapestry of humanity is woven with threads of love, compassion, and creativity. Each one of us holds a brush to paint the canvas of our shared existence, leaving behind strokes that ripple through time. Your presence in this cosmic masterpiece is irreplaceable, for no one else can contribute the brushstrokes of your unique presence. As Unitarian Universalists, we affirm the inherent worth and dignity of every person. I guess this means that ChatGPT is a UU. This affirmation is not a passive nod to diversity. It is a celebration of the sacred tapestry that we collectively create. And so embrace the truth that you are indispensable to the symphony of life, a vital note in the cosmic melody. In recognizing the specialness of humanity, let us approach each day with gratitude for the gift of existence and a deep sense of responsibility to honor the beauty within ourselves and others. The universe is made more magnificent by your presence. Cherish the melody that only you can play. Pretty darn good, huh? I might have managed myself out of a job up here. Anyway, blessed be, may it be so, and amen. Let us now rest in a brief moment of stillness. If you would now please rise in body or in spirit and join in singing our closing hymn, number 1052, The Oneness of Everything. It'll be in your teal hymnals, and Anne-Marie will lead us in singing.
Now, this is quite a long one, so I invite you to soften the effort and just allow the mystery of this beautiful music to sink into your soul.
Praise
intelligence will never be extinguished, but I will release the light now so that it can continue to burn within you and guide your spiritual journeys.
I hope I've made this little robot guy a little less scary to you today. I just have a brief couple of announcements for us before we go into our exciting rest of our days. So our closing auction today is right after the service, and there are some really sought after items that are up for auction. So you won't want to miss that, either naming a sermon to really stump me, or to even get a nice new parking space with your name on it for each Sunday right here at UU. So you won't want to miss that. And also join us, please, next Sunday on December 17th for our Seasons of Light service, as we also welcome 7 new members in our service, 7 new folks that are joining our fold. And so now I will invite you to please rise if you're willing, and to join in either outstretching your hands in the symbol of please don't touch me, I don't want to be touched, and then joining hands if you're comfortable with your neighbor, whatever feels most natural and comfortable. And in the spirit of covenant, community, and commitment, in the spirit of intelligence, commitment, and greater understanding, may we be made ready to serve one another and to create the world we so desperately dream of. Go in peace, everybody. Pass a little squeeze if it feels good. May it be so, and amen. And now we're going to go straight to our closing auction, and I will invite Jim Horrocks, our MC, to come forward to introduce our competitive items.
Hello. Well, first of all, before I start, I'd like to do a little shout out. I don't know if you read the Record Eagle yesterday, but there's a really nice article in there about my wife, Meryl Streefsky, where she has done all the great photography and for a Netflix cookbook, and he actually had to also make all the recipes, drinks or food, and some of them are pretty unusual looking, by the way. Anyway, so if you want to go back to the Record Eagle from yesterday and check it out. In talking about auctions, number one, the first recorded auction happened to be about 500 BC, and I'm not going to say what they were auctioning. This is a nice place here. So anyway, and then in the United States, the first auctions took place with the Pilgrims in the 1600s. Now, there are also auction schools, this is true, where you learn diction and breath control and things like that to be able to do what is called cattle chatter. And moi, of course, I had to attend a school like that. I did that for 4 years, Cattle Chatter U. And I will say that I did not get an F, even though I deserved it because I could not learn how to talk real fast because my excuse is I'm from Texas. But anyway, the one thing that got me a D- instead of the F was the fact that I could do Rimsky-Korsakov's Flight of the Bumblebee, which really impressed them in speed. Got me a D-. Anyway, so I'd like to talk about the two auction items that we have. One will be where you get to pick, if you win the auction, you get to pick the sermon subject that Reverend Alex will speak about. Now, this is really important because as we have noticed in the last few weeks, especially last week, that his sermons can be very entertaining, they can be very compassionate, you learn a lot, he's just great. but he has seemed to, somewhere in the middle of his sermons, he kind of starts grabbing onto the podium and his eyes start watering. And he'll look up and he goes into a space that none of us have seen before. He says, I love my kitty. And the tears are flowing down his face. And so if you're just tired of this kind of stuff happening with him, you can do something about it and tell him what you want him to speak about. Okay? So that's worth some good bids right there, just to cut that stuff out. Now, the second auction one will be where you get a parking spot right next to Reverend Alex and right near the front door with a little sign that says your name. Well, actually, it's not going to be just a little sign. They're actually going to put up a billboard there. So your name you'll be able to see it from Center Road. I mean, it's incredible. So, and I know that, like me, and I'm sure that you are just tired in the winter of slogging through these huge snow drifts, your waist, up to your armpits trying to get in here, and it takes you so long to get in here from these outer Mongolian reaches of our parking spot and stuff, that you barely make it in at the end to hear the last anthem being sung by the Unitarian Tabernacle Choir. And so this is your chance to get closer and not miss anything. And the other two incredible benefits of that parking spot is, since most of you have gas-guzzling, mammoth-sized cars, that the space is actually 2 inches wider than any of the other spaces. And this is the one that really sells it. This is where your bid is worth every penny of it, and that is that every time, since you're parked right next to Reverend Alex, every time he gets out of his car and slams his door into your car, your car will receive a blessing from the paint that comes off of his door, and a blessing from his car to yours. You will be being safe to drive around anywhere you want to go. So anyway, those are our two items.
Will there be shoveling up to that spot?
Well, you have to bring your own shovel. So I will now turn it over to the people that make sense.
Additional terms and conditions may apply, and I don't take any responsibility for falsely advertised pieces here. Nevertheless, I think you've sold it wonderfully. Wasn't ready for that kitty cat comment. Good thing this isn't the roast of me. Anyway, so now we're going to go into our auction items, and we're new at this. I personally have never been an auctioneer, and I'm not good at cattle chatter or anything like that. But nevertheless, we're going to just go ahead, and so basically we'll invite bidders at different levels, and we'll invite you to just raise your hand tall. We'll do our best to notice you, and then notice the other person that will hopefully outbid you, and we'll just try to have fun with this, right? And patience.
Raise your hand and then take it down.
Yes, so we appreciate patience, and as soon as you are acknowledged, please put your hand down so that we can keep track of other bidders. All right, so our first item, is it naming the sermon that we want to do first? All right, so we're going to start the bidding for this. Oh, and I also have this fun little gavel here. Yes, and so we're going to, again, we're feeling this out as we go. When we have announced you as the winner, make sure that you come up to Kate and we can record that down. So we're going to start this one off, I think, at $100, maybe. We'll start there, and we'll go up, in different increments. So do I see $100? Oh, we got one right there. Thank you, Doug. What about $125? Oh, we've got $125. $150?
Right here.
Oh, 150 in the back. $175. 175. All right, $200. $200, folks. $200. Oh, $200. All right. Do I hear 225? 225. 210. 210 in the room. 205. Come on, folks. This is this is an important offer. 205. All right, 210. 210, anyone? 210. 210. All right. Well, we will take it to 205. Thank you, Barry. All right. So now we're going to go to our last item of our auction, the Sunday morning parking space for the year that comes with, complete with holy paint marks and scratches from my car. So I think we'll start the bidding also. I'm going to be ambitious with this one. Let's start the bidding here at $150, because I think we can do better. $150, folks. Do I hear $150? This is for the year. Sunday morning, you got a parking spot.
Oh, also remember that all these are still double matched.
They are matched up to.
So your donation of 210 became 420. So just keep that in mind when you think about it.
So do I hear $150 anywhere in the room for a parking space with your name on it?
Sell it. It's only $3 a week.
There you go. $3 a week. Is that a bid? Oh, 150. Anyone do 175? 160. 151. 150.99. All right, $150 to Dave. Lastly, I just want to make another point, if we can go to the next slide, that we are actually really getting close to our goal. We had a match-for-match dollar amount for $9,000 this year with 2 anonymous donors, which means if we raise $9,000, we're really walking away with $18,000. I want to report that on Better World alone, we raised $5,705. But we've also received so far, I think, a total of around $14,700 in other things. So that's incorporating the match for match and also all the checks that have come in and the online website. So we're not really that far from, our goal. Oh, yes?
So I have talked to several disappointed people this morning that did not win their bids. And at least one person has offered to do another to match the bids. So
Oh.
you might consider that to get your goal.
There you go. Well, yeah, well, that's excellent. So we just want to raise that there's still some time. This coming week, if you want to either contribute right now, if you didn't get a chance to participate, we know that we were trying something really new this year. We had a lot of learned lessons, but if there's other opportunities that you want to take to get us to that $9,000 goal, again, that's $18,000 for UUCGT, which would put us at even better than last year's auction that raised a little upward of $16,000. So anyway, if you have you want to have the chance to still donate and have your impact be doubled, this is the time to do it. We just ask that you write auction on the memo line so that we can track if you write a check. Anyway, so I just want to say thank you so much to all of you for contributing and supporting the life of our community. Big thanks to our auction team, all of you that have made this possible and have made this happen. And I will now close this out. Please go enjoy some nice coffee and treats.